Big Paulie's World of Sports Sims welcomes you to another edition of Grand Slam Saturday. And we're going to start with a World Junior Heavyweight title match in the New York City circuit. All matches sanctioned by Grand Slam Wrestling, Gordon Soley, Commissioner. And the reigning world champion remains Pat O'Connor. We use Wrestling's Finest version 3 to determine the winners and the losers. And let's show you what has already happened in the New York City circuit. One of 6 circuits remaining in GSW. The Guerreros and the debuting Steiner brothers went to a 20-minute draw. Crusher Verdue over Dominic DeNucci. DeNucci also debuting. Sabu held his own quite nicely. He gets the win over Ace Cowboy Bob Orton. Randy Savage with Elizabeth won by countout over Kurt Angle. Shinya Hashimoto, a fan favorite from Japan, beats The Undertaker by countout. The Crusaders and a team of Black Gordman and Grand Goliath drew a 20-minute bout, as did Dick the Bruiser and CM Punk, but they went 30 minutes in their grudge match. For the Federation tag titles, the Road Warriors and the Funk Brothers go to a double DQ in 10:42. And the match we just finished up before we hit the air was Sting winning by DQ over Dr. Jerry Graham when The Undertaker interfered. So those two will be destined to meet each other. Jackie Pallo, who has held the World Junior Heavyweight title about as long as anybody thought possible, he comes in with a Year 4 record of 7-7-3. He's got Jack Sherry, who is 10-4-3 this year. A lot of people think that Sherry might be the man to take the title, but a lot of those people thought that Pallo was going to lose the title several weeks ago. He had a couple defenses against Jerry Lawler, lost by countout to Antonino Rocca. So if Pallo goes back to London, he'll have a mandatory match with Rocca. And he just went to a double DQ with Mystico in Mexico City. So let's get our match started. Computer thinks Pallo will win. This is a one-fall 60-minute time limit match, and if you are unfamiliar with the rules of wrestling, Sherry has to win by a pinfall or submission within the 60-minute time limit to win the title. Any other result, and Pallo keeps the belt. We start with an auto-control loss, and a bear hug, and a submission that's not going to get the end result needed to win, so we ignore it. Legal punches by Sherry. Sherry was a great early 20th century shooter. Wasn't well liked among his peers, and wasn't afraid to shoot on people. Disqualified check. Legal throw by Sherry. Legal turnbuckle by Sherry. In terms of what he has done in GSW, he held the North American title for a while. I think he beat Shinya Hashimoto for it, in fact, in one of the regional tournaments for Monarch of the Mat. We go to a leg hold by Pallo, followed by a speed move by Sherry and a leg hold and a legal chop. So Sherry putting the holds together, and he's built up a little bit of a lead here. We are 3:47 into our 60-minute bout. And Sherry's going to pick his man up, and it's a high vertical suplex, ka-chunk, and that's 10 more points off of Pallo's total. He's racking up damage. Leg hold by Pallo. Pallo, of course, was an all-time great in the British wrestling circuit, was one of the first TV stars in British television who from wrestling, and as many of you know, and as I have mentioned a few times, he is probably best known in America for his appearance in the British sitcom Are You Being Served, which takes place at a fictional department store in London called Grace Brothers. Body slam by Pallo, ka-chunk, and that's the first real big damage hit Sherry has taken. Sherry comes back with illegal punches. Figure 4 head scissors, but Sherry's seen that move before. He counters. And Sherry has sustained a back injury. That will come into play in this bout. We will adjust Sherry's holds. So he goes body slam, headlock. Because by the time he wrestles again in a couple of weeks, unless he wins the title tonight, Let me see here. Where is the headlock? Where is the... Oh, it's up there. It's up here on top. Suplex, headlock. If he wins the title, then that back injury is going to come into play. If he does not win the title, he will probably be fully healed by the time he competes again in the New York circuit if called upon. Leg hold countered by Palo. Palo goes for a headlock. We are 8 minutes into the bout, and Palo is still trailing in terms of damage. Fan interaction, and Palo getting into it with the New York crowd, and that's going to cost him some damage and some stamina. They want to fight the guy in the ring and not the fans outside of it. Rolling reverse, but no pin attempt triggered. Choking by Palo. And an Indian deathlock, but that's not going to score a submission. We're 9:16 into the bout. Legal forearm by Palo. And a neck hold. Submission, but we're not going to try for it. No action, we go back to Sherry. And Sherry throwing some illegal punches. He's a fan favorite, yes, but he's not afraid to get down and dirty. Arm holds. A lot of no actions and a speed move. Palo doing some sticking and moving, and he has closed the gap to Sherry to within 16 points. Then again, we haven't heard from Arizona. Illegal punches by Sherry. Sherry going for a scissors hold. This could be the title change we were looking for, but no, on the count of 2, Palo finds the ropes. So Sherry goes back to basics and arm hold. He widens the lead a little bit. Standing abdominal stretch, but that's not going to score the submission. Reverse kick by Palo. No pin. We have not had a lot of pin attempts in this bout, only 2 at the 16:33 mark. Choking by Palo. Arm hold by Palo. Some more fan interaction. I don't know why a champion such as Palo would let the fans live rent-free in his head. Arm hold by Palo. Backslide. No pin. We looked at a possible DQ attempt, but not to be. No action. Speed moves now by Sherry. Sherry fighting fire with fire and doing a little stick and move. He's now up about 21 points at the 20-minute mark. Illegal punches puts him up 26. Whip to the ropes by Palo. Illegal chop by Palo. No action. An arm hold. Headlock by Sherry. Leg hold by Jack Sherry. Illegal punches. Legal forearm by Sherry. No pin. Whip to the ropes. And a pile driver by Mr. TV, Jackie Palo. Auto control loss and no action and a legal forearm. Auto control loss, a kick by Palo. Right to the shoulder of Sherry. And again, this damage race getting tight now. Choking by Palo. And a hair pull. Throat chop countered. Here comes Sherry with illegal punches. Palo got to within 3 points of taking the damage lead. Now Sherry is going to widen up a little bit with 11 points on 2 moves. He's up 14. Now he's up 21 at the 27:08 mark. Leg hold by Sherry. Neck hold by Jack Sherry. So we're 27:42 into the bout. And Sherry widening up that lead again. Inside cradle for Palo. No pin. Choking by Jackie Palo. That does not get it done. Illegal punches by Mr. TV. No action. Souffle attempt countered by Sherry. Sherry goes to the whip and ropes and hits it. But it's a very tight race right now. We are halfway through the 60-minute time limit. Boston Crab, that's not going to score the submission. No chance of getting it. Sherry with a scissors hold. Now this has about an 81.5% chance of making Jack Sherry your new World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Let's do the count. 1. No, ropes again. Palo finds the ropes after the count of 1. So he stays in control. And now Sherry has been hurt again. He now has a leg injury, but he was already injured in the back. So the first injury is just going to have to hold. So he has a leg injury and a back injury. I would think the back injury would take precedence. So we will rule that accordingly. That's never happened to me in doing this match, the best that I could remember. Doing Wrestling's Finest, that two injuries would hit the same wrestler. So we're just going to go with the back injury and use that for now. Use that for the remainder of the match. Again, a scissors hold. This time, it's a 97.5% chance of making Sherry the world champ. And there you go. Jack Sherry has won the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, finally ending the reign. It was a long reign, of Jackie Pallo. Pallo is going to go back to the London circuit. Sherry by pin. He is the new champ. And he picks up 4 points. And he now goes on the road to defend his title. And he will be injured in whoever he faces for the title first, which would be in Mexico City. He'll be defending the title in Mexico City, so I will just declare him injured in that bout. 35-27 the time. He wins it on the scissors hold. Final damage numbers 218 for Pallo, 182 for Sherry. No blood. It was a 5-star match. And Jack Sherry is your new World Junior Heavyweight Champion. We can now go off and look and see what we got in the Atlanta circuit. We have Youngblood and Steamboat facing off against the Interns for the World Tag Team titles. Stand by. Our next stop here on Grand Slam Saturday, it's a bout for the World Tag Team titles between Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood against the Interns. And I believe this is the first time we have had the Interns on our Grand Slam Saturday videos, or before that, the match of the week. So we're in at Hotlanta, the ATL circuit, as we like to call it these days. Kind of think of it as a combination of NWA, WCW, maybe Impact in the 21st century. It's got that kind of feel to it. So we'll go through our bouts. A stunning upset in the opening bout. George Becker and Johnny Weaver beat the Outsiders, so they keep moving up in the standings. A brand new tag team. It's only been in a few weeks here in GSW in this third quarter. Barry Windham loses to Greg Valentine by countout. Roddy Piper, Ray Steele go to a 20-minute draw. Kevin Sullivan and Dick Daviscourt. It was Sullivan winning by DQ. Sullivan hit Daviscourt with the golden spike, showing his fellow heel no mercy. Dusty Rhodes interfered, trying to get Sullivan under control and trying to get a hold of that spike and trying to keep it from him using it on anybody else. In the melee, Daviscourt was DQ'd, and Daviscourt had a beef with Dusty Rhodes once Daviscourt came through. So Daviscourt and Dusty Rhodes have a future meeting. Ric Flair gets a DQ win in 8 seconds when Kurt Hennig rammed Flair's head into the ring post, and then Flair began to act a little funny, because look what happened in the next bout. The Minnesota Wrecking Crew and the Renegade Warriors, who had a title shot last week, they go to a double DQ in 8-12, but get this. Ric Flair interferes on behalf of Gene and Ole Anderson, causing a melee. So their bout was a schnoz, and Ric Flair seemed to make a heel turn, telling Bob Caudle, "Don't tell me you forgot. Woo! I'm the dirtiest player in the game, brother." And then he started challenging some baby faces here in the Atlanta National Circuit. Mr. Wrestling 2 saw this and said, "That son of a bitch is crazier than I am." So he had a straight-up bout with Lou Thesz Scientific and went to a 20-minute draw. In our title bouts, the Blonde Bombers and the Flying Scots go to a double DQ. in just under 20 minutes. And we just had a very courageous effort by Bantam TA, getting busted open like crazy and taking a lot of hits from Vader, who wins and retains his title in a no DQ bout by body press. So on to our World Tag Title bout. The interns were a good team in the 60s and 70s, managed by J.C. Dykes, who always carried a canteen with him, which was usually used as a foreign object. So we'll go through the move holds. I already did this before the transmission began. And Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood should be favorites in this bout. They're about 15 points higher in the rankings as the interns are. But the interns have actually lost a couple of bouts, but they have been consistent in the rankings, so that's why they're given a shot here today. Youngblood and Steamboat, who have won two reigns of their world tag titles, they're in the early parts of their fifth. Unless they lose today, then it would all be over with. They are 17, 6, and 5. The interns come in at 4, 5, and 3, even though they lost to the upstart team of George Becker and Johnny Weaver, who we were mentioning earlier. So on we go with the bout, and the challengers start out strong. Illegal punches, a neck hold by the interns, double teaming, and a nerve hold. So they're off to a good start. They already racked up 45 points of damage on the championship team of Youngblood and Steamboat, who have held the world tag titles all but a few weeks of year 4, which is the year we are in. Double teaming move by the interns, and a hair pull, and illegal punches, and they, like I said, they are off to a good start. Knee to the stomach. Knee to the stomach of the interns, and that was applied to... We'll take your pick. We'll know in a moment. Oh, it gets the pin, and we have brand new World Tag Team Champions. Brand new World Tag Team Champions in the interns. A very quick and auspicious showing, and the interns are now your World Tag Team Champions. I will have to look and see if they have ever won the World Tag titles before. I don't think they ever have, just off the top of my head, but I'll have to consult my record. So they will pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for the win. And they are your brand new, and the 5th reign of Youngblood and Steamboat is over with already. Now they will go to the Atlanta circuit and compete there. They probably have quite a rivalry with the Blonde Bombers, although Jay Youngblood's brothers, the Youngbloods, the Renegade Warriors, will get the first crack at them in a couple of weeks. So the time of the bout was an even 3 minutes, and it was a perfect showing for the interns. They did not lose any points at all, and the bout got 3 stars. So we have brand new. In this broadcast of Grand Slam Saturday, we have had 2 brand new world champions. Will we see a third as we go to the Texas circuit in Houston? John Pezic awaiting Pat O'Connor. We shall see. And welcome to another stop here on Grand Slam Saturday. As you can see in big, bold capital letters, we have our world title bout in the ring. It's going to be between Pat O'Connor and John Pezic. Pezic, the 2-time former world champion, going for reign number 3, which would be a new GSW record. They have met twice so far in the past couple of weeks, and Pezic got a double countout in one bout and won by countout in another bout. This could be the first of 2 meetings here on Grand Slam Saturday. They are scheduled to meet again in the Oakridland Cup Qualifying in San Francisco, which we'll have right after this bout. And as I was saying, Pezic has had dominance over O'Connor in their first 2 meetings. But every meeting is different, and even if Pezic wins the title tonight, O'Connor will get an immediate rematch. If the title doesn't change hands, there'll be another opportunity then later on in the show. So let's tell you about what's been happening in the Texas circuit. We began with the Tolos brothers defeating the Pitbulls. Harley Race won by countout over babyface Jake Roberts. Kola Coriani and Wahoo McDaniel go to a 20-minute time limit draw. Nick Bockwinkel over Dick Hutton. Vern Gagne and Wild Bill Logginson also go 20 minutes. We had controversy between the Midnight Express and the Hart Foundation as the Tolos brothers interfere. The referee rang for the bell, but as he rang for the bell, the timekeeper was already ringing the bell to indicate the end of the time limit. So they looked at replays that they had available at ringside and ruled that the Harts will win by disqualification based on the Tolos brothers' interference. Harts and the Tolos brothers are scheduled to meet each other on the next loop in a couple of weeks. And a no DQ bout after a bout where Blassie defeated Kerry Von Erich a couple weeks ago. Kerry Von Erich turns the tables and beats Classy Freddie Blassie 24-56 on a discus punch. Fabulous Moolah retained her championship against Mildred Burke. The Miller brothers won by countout over the High Flyers, so that triggers an automatic rematch in 2 weeks, and I'm hearing rumors that bout will be held inside the steel cage. And just as we were going on the air, Danny Hodge defeated Jerry Lawler. Technical battle, but there was no way that Lawler could keep up with Hodge on a technical basis. So it was Hodge winning after being cut early on an Oklahoma roll in just under 16 minutes. So that brings us to our bout here on this stop, the Texas Circuit, based in Houston, Texas. And there was something I wanted to say, but I can't think of it right now. So let's just get on with our championship match. Pat O'Connor, the defending champion. He has been champion now about 6 weeks. John Pezic going for gold. When he wins the title a third time, he says he's going to keep the title as long as humanly possible, defending the title. And when somebody beats him, he will again re-retire, after he did at the end of year 3, after he beat Jim Lundos to win the title. Then Jerry Lawler was declared champion because he won a regional tournament. Then it went back to Lundos, then to Dory Funk Jr., then to Pat O'Connor, and that is where we are at right now. So off we go, and these two will be meeting again later here on Grand Slam Saturday. Not Lawler, but O'Connor is the champion. And off we go. And we've had a quick result. Double count out in just 31 seconds. Man, I cannot believe the luck that Pezic has had. He has not been able to put a dent into Pat O'Connor. So Pezic is now 1 win by countout and 2 draws, double countouts, against Pat O'Connor. So O'Connor retains the title. He'll go to San Francisco and he'll defend it again against John Pezic. There are rumors now that on the Oakridland Cup card in London on week 39, usually it's the Monarch of the Mat champion who gets the crack at the world title, which in this case would be Mitsuharu Misawa. But there are rumors there could be a Pezic-O'Connor clash there of some sort, that they might step Misawa aside and put on a O'Connor-Pezic super bout. Or Pezic could wind up facing Misawa. We still have 6 weeks to go before all that happens. So the time of the bout was 36 seconds, and it goes to a double count out. It'll get 3 stars. And the crowd in Texas not that happy. I think I'm seeing some people head to the box office wanting their money back. So an inconclusive bout, setting up another match in San Francisco. Pezic lost 6 damage points, but this one was over before it began. And with that, let's head on out to the Oakridland Cup in San Francisco, California. The final stop for Grand Slam Saturday comes to you from San Francisco, California. It is time for Oakridland Cup Qualifying. And let me get my match in the ring here and show you that it is the team of Black Gordon Man and Grand Goliath who are going to face the team of Great Muda and Masahiro Chono, better known as Black Japan, here in GSW, and they're going to meet in the Los Angeles final. We had the LA and Portland qualifiers, so let's go through what happened earlier in the tournament. In the LA quarterfinals, the Guerreros and the Headhunters, it was the Guerreros winning by countout in under 10 minutes. The East-West Connection debuted, a team of Jesse the Body Ventura and Adrian Adonis. They upset the Tolos brothers, and they moved to the semis. Then we had the Portland quarterfinals. We had a draw between the Southern Rockers and Koji Kamamoto and Minoru Tanaka. The Rockers were badly cut in the bout, but they managed to get to a time limit draw. The Japanese duo claimed there was a little home cooking going on, and who knows. The Nightmares and the Young Bucks also go to a 30-minute draw. The Nightmares advance via the rule that says the higher seed automatically moves on when we have a match with no winner. Back to LA for the semifinals on the San Francisco card. We alternate rounds between both circuits, both of the old circuits. Now we're down to 6, of course. Gordman and Goliath defeated the East-West Connection in a little over 22 minutes, so they advanced to the finals. They were cut, so they're going to be at a disadvantage, and let me just make sure I mark that. And don't tell me I can't. Well, I think I said it earlier. In fact, they will be at a disadvantage in the final because they were cut open in the semifinal bout, and the team that are going to face Black Japan were not. They beat the Guerreros 21 minutes, a good bout, 3.5 stars. In the Portland semifinals, it was the Sheepherders losing to the Nightmares on cuts. They had 101 points in cuts. So the match awarded to the Nightmares, because this is based off, Wrestling's Finest is based off of 80s wrestling, and in the 70s and the early 80s, it wouldn't be unusual if a wrestler was cut, much like in boxing, that the fight were stopped. Hell's Angels and the Southern Rockers, the Rockers pulled a surprise and won by a pin in 36-10, so we'll see them in our next bout facing the Nightmares for the Portland spot. In the Oakridland Cup, we'll have the round of 16 for you, 4 weeks, double in Ireland, trying to finalize some of the other bouts that will be a part of the Oakridland Cup. For instance, our third bout coming to you from San Francisco is going to be a rematch of the bout we just had between Pat O'Connor and John Pezic. Well, assume O'Connor is still the champ. Mitsuharu Misawa would get normally the shot in the Oakridland Cup for winning Monarch of the Mat. Pezic, of course, is far and away the number one contender for the world title, so we might have Pezic and Misawa face off for Misawa's shot at the world title, and we might have to have some sort of blow-off match between O'Connor and Pezic because they've been nipping on each other's heels now for quite a while. So let's do our LA final, Gordman and Goliath and Black Japan squaring off, and the winner will make the final stage of 16. This is one fall, 60-minute time limit. If we have a draw or some sort of result that does not produce a winner, then Gordman and Goliath, who have been cut again in this bout, but so have Black Japan. Clash of heads, it looks like. Again, kind of like boxing. So we move on through our bout, kicked by Gordman and Goliath, who were a dominant team in the Los Angeles and I believe in Mexico too in the 70s and 80s. Legal Lobo, one of the best, I would definitely say they were one of the best 10 tag teams of all time. And they have been frequent contenders in GSW. I think they have had a few world title runs. Power move by Gordman and Goliath. Early on, it's about an even bout. Both teams already cut. Legal punches by Gordman and Goliath, a disqualify check. The Southern Rockers will be at a disadvantage in the next bout because they were, I believe they were cut in both of their bouts. No, they were cut in the first bout badly, but not in the second. And it's I think this is not the first time we've had the 3 and the 4 seeds have to go 3 bouts, and one of them will be the Portland representative into the Oakridland Cup final stage. Illegal punches by Black Japan. Happy August 28th to you all. I'm recording this August 28th, so you'll be... The earlier bouts that you saw I recorded during the week, and a pin attempt here on Gordman and Goliath after a legal elbow, but not to be. Yakuza kick. Oh, good roll, but they could not get the 1, 2, or 3 on the 3 count. They drew ones on the first 2 counts. Some more double teaming, and now Gordman and Goliath have opened up a pretty sizable lead here at the 10-minute mark. No pin. Auto control loss. Illegal punches by Muta and Chono. STF, that's Chono. But it's not going to get that's the move Lou Fez taught him. A step over toe hold face lock, that's what STF stands for. Power move by Gordman and Goliath. Some more double teaming, and Gordman and Goliath, despite the being injured and having from the laceration in their semifinal bout, they're pouring it on here in the final. Double team attempt. Legal chop by Black Japan. Another double team attempt here by Gordman and Goliath that is perfectly executed. So they're doing quite well right now. Hold on a moment. There we go. And Gordman and Goliath just double teaming away. A face rake. Illegal choking. Black Japan look like they are on their last legs. Both teams having to compete. Each team competed twice in this tournament, and the Nightmares and the Southern Rockers will have competed 3 times each when they square off in our next bout, and then we'll have the big one between O'Connor and Pezic. Legal throw. Can't really push Gordman and Goliath around. A submission move, a bear hug by Black Japan. I don't think that's going to work. Gordman and Goliath are pretty sizable dudes. Double teaming. No pin. We're 18:44 into a 60-minute time limit. Throat chop by Black Japan. That does not get the pin. We have had 4 pin attempts. 5 pin attempts now by Black Japan. Gordman and Goliath only 1. Turnbuckle move. That does not get the pin. More double teaming by Gordman and Goliath. We have passed now the 20-minute mark. They have a 266-point lead. And both teams cut, but marginally so. And Black Japan surrendered a couple of pin attempts. By the way, Gordman and Goliath 4-3-2 for the year. Black Japan 2-4-2. Forgot to give you the records. And a pinfall. Legal choking by Gordman and Goliath. That gets it done. And Gordman and Goliath will advance to the final stage. The round of 16 in Dublin, Ireland. Before the final 8 in London, week 39. The bouts in Ireland will be week 37. So they win by pinfall. They get 4 points for the win. Time of the fall, 22:36. It was Gordman pinning Muta after a choke. If you are watching this the weekend of March 28th, my best wishes to the people of Louisiana. They got a hurricane coming. Tomorrow, the 29th, or so it is thought as I record this at 5 o'clock, a little past 5 o'clock. And we are going to go to our second bout, which will be the Portland final. And that will be the team that Gordman and Goliath face in the round of 16. As soon as I type this up for the Delphi board, the Wrestling's Finest Delphi board, and you can also find a copy of what I put on the Delphi board over at Big Polly's World of Sports Sims Facebook group. Just type Big Polly's World of Sports Sims, like the name of the YouTube channel, on the Facebook, and you will see my postings. And we will have HGFL football beginning September 6th, which just happens to be my 50th birthday. Probably be taping a few bouts for that. We're going to do 105 HGFL games. over the course of the next few months, Lord willing, and if the creek doesn't rise. So let me finish up my write-up here. Very little trouble. Black Japan was able to give Gordman and Goliath, who now advance to the round of 16. And now let's set up. Yeah, no post-match action. Our bout between the Nightmares and the Southern Rockers. So we will set that up for you post-haste and play that bout out. And remember, folks, it's just a game. It's not life or death. It's not, I don't understand why people get upset with people on the forums because somebody decides to play a game a stupid way and somebody else thinks it's stupid. Enjoy the games. Don't. If you think a game should be played a certain way, get the game and play it that way yourself. I mean, life's too short. Life is too short. Southern Rockers. That's who we were looking for. And as long as you believe life is too short to worry about things like that, then you're about 5 steps ahead of the game. So we'll set up our -10 no DQ rules. If you are unfamiliar with wrestling's finest and the Rockers, actually, let's see, did the Nightmares accrue any cuts in their bouts? Yes, they did. So they should be on even keel. If you're unfamiliar with wrestling's finest, the -10 DQ rule, I'll explain that for a little bit. It basically tells the referees to give the teams or the wrestlers in a tournament more latitude so that they can, we could have clean finishes. Doesn't make it impossible that a match could end with a DQ finish. It just makes a DQ attempt less likely, or a disqualification less likely. If the team's bending the rules left and right, then they're still going to get DQ'd. So here are the trade moves. They're trading speed moves. I probably did this already while I was talking to you about other things. The Nightmares come in 2-1-2. The Southern Rockers 3-3-3. Southern Rockers were also known in the WWF. They were a heel tag team called Well Done. But in Portland was where they had the name the Southern Rockers, and that's where they got their start. In fact, they had a feud between the members of the tag team, Dunn and Dahl. Steve Dahl and Rex King were the Southern Rockers, and then they took up the moniker of Well and Dunn. One of them was Timothy Well, and the other one was a guy named Dunn. So off we go with this bout. If we have a tie, the Southern Rockers would advance. And then after this, we'll have our big world title bout. I know you're seeing a heavy diet of Pezic and O'Connor. We're going to probably, so we could build up our Oakridland Cup card a little bit, we'll have these two facing each other a bit less. So we're early in the bout even. Legal punches by the Nightmares. Nightmares were a heel tag team in the early 80s. I believe they were big in first Memphis and then the Continental Circuit of Ron Fuller's. Based out of Dothan, Alabama, and I think they did their matches for a long time out of Birmingham. And when Gordon Soley got booted out of doing the Atlanta matches on TBS when the WWF bought them, I think Gordon took over for Charlie Platt and did the matches for Birmingham for several years. Legal throw by the Southern Rockers and a legal leg drop. So this is a good little east-west match. Legal biting. Supplé attempt. Ropes move by the Nightmares. No pin. We have had 4 pin attempts. Actually 5 now. 4 of them by the Rockers. A kick by the Southern Rockers. Arm hold, submission move, more double teaming, double drop kick, no pin. And we're at the 13-minute bout of this Portland final. Because both of these teams were in the Portland circuit at one point in the second quarter of year 4. Southern Rockers have their wounds cut open again. Legal chop by the Rockers. So both these teams will have 4 weeks to heal. Next week we'll have the qualifiers. Next week in terms of the game timeline, I don't know I'll be able to get it in Grand Slam Wrestling next week, our Labor Day edition, because it'll be coming to you September 4th. Punches by the Nightmares, double team attempt, some fan interaction. The fans not giving the Nightmares the business. Throat chop by the Nightmares, no pin. So the Nightmares racking up some pin attempts here after the Rockers did well early. Legal arm hold by the Southern Rockers. Double team attempt by the Nightmares because the Southern Rockers are fading, and some more double teaming. Right now at the 18.5-minute mark, the Nightmares have opened up a 140-point lead. But in tag teams, in wrestling's finest, things can change quick. Suplex attempt by the Rockers and a headlock. You put a few moves together, a 100-point lead can evaporate real fast. Small package, Southern Rockers. No, they don't get it. Whipped to the ropes by the Nightmares. Suplex onto the Rockers, but it was an illegal pin attempt. We have had 9 pin attempts, now 6 by the Rockers. No submission move. Legal knee. Almost got the pin there. Nightmares came in the 4 seed, Southern Rockers came in the 3 seed, and they each pulled off upsets in the semifinal round to battle each other in the finals. Illegal punches by the Southern Rockers. Oh, a pin hold for the Rockers, no pin. And the Rockers are probably one of the best of the unheralded teams. They have won several championships in GSW. Low blow by the Nightmares, followed by a body slam by the Rockers. Pinhold countered. Drop kick. Oh, for a minute that looked like that was going to be the match, but it wasn't. Legal knee for the Southern Rockers. No pin. So we are now up to 12 pin attempts. A double team attempt. A kick by the Nightmares. And the Nightmares still up a good 100-plus points, 122. Legal forearm. More double teaming. So this has been a good bout. Face rake by the Rockers. Rockers just trying to catch their second win here. They have been cut, by the way. They have 30 points racked up in cuts. A headbutt by the Nightmares. Double teaming. Rockers, the tank's got to be near E on them. They try a double team and get it. Kicked by the Rockers. Submission move. A body scissors, but that's not going to be effective, so we move on. Arm holds by the Rockers, a leg hold. Illegal choking. No, doesn't get it done. But the Rockers in serious trouble now. They're choking. They're trying to find a way to get it done. And they get the pin. They get the pin on a body slam. The Southern Rockers will be facing Gordman and Goliath in the 6th of the round of 16 bouts in Dublin. So it's the Southern Rockers advancing by way of pin. They pick up 4 big points. Time of the fall 32:52. This must have been a highly rated bout, as it was King pinning Danny Davis, not the Danny Davis from the WWF of the 80s, who was a referee at one point, but Nightmare Danny Davis. And oddly enough, in singles in wrestling's finest, they're baby faces. 320 off of the Nightmares, 414. So the Rockers with a come from behind win. Let's see what the rating was. 3.5 stars. So the Rockers will have to be sizable underdogs against Gordman and Goliath in that bout. But they will each have 4 weeks to get a little extra rest. And we will be having our World Championship match for you. Okay, so on to the bout everybody here in San Francisco wanted to say. I believe San Francisco was the city where Frank Gotch won the GSW title back from John Pezic way back in, I want to say, year 2. I could be wrong about that. So here we go. Pat O'Connor, use of his champion's card. Uses his champion card because he beat the man who beat the man. And we have John Pezic, who is 0-1 and who is 1-0-2. He has 1 win, 2 draws, both double countouts against. Hold on a moment, folks. Champion. And this is a world title match. Pezic is 1-0-2, 1 win, 2 draws against Pat O'Connor. And the one bout that first bout he had got a double count at, and he was dominating O'Connor. So off we go. Next week we are probably going to have, since it's going to be a joint card between Tokyo and Mexico City, we'll have it in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I think we'll have a Japanese challenger for the Latin American title and a Latin American challenger for the Mexican title. Probably not going to be a world title bout. The next challenge for one of these men is going to be next week against Antonio Inoki. Then I think we have Luthez waiting, whoever is the champion out of that. So here is our world title bout. Pezic a favorite, but he keeps blowing his chances. As a champion, O'Connor is 6-1-3. His only loss was to count out last week against John Pezic in our last bout of Grand Slam Saturday. Pezic is 2-0-3 in his comeback. Got a draw with George Kidd, and he's had 2 countouts, double countouts with O'Connor, both in the past week. So we start with an eye gouge and a neck hold for O'Connor. So both men scoring holds in the first minute. A whip to the ropes by O'Connor. Legal chop. And O'Connor goes for a submission move and scores it. So O'Connor with an edge at the 2:16 mark. Small package, no pin. Pezic is going to be very, very tough to beat because he's got that 13-12-1 pin rating. Supplé attempt countered. Inside cradle for O'Connor. That does not score. The rumor is that if Pezic stays challenger, he's going to want a no time limit, no DQ, maybe a steel cage match with O'Connor. And O'Connor probably counter and say, hey, look, if you want that, if I beat you, then you have to retire again. Auto control loss, legal punches. Punches for O'Connor's score. So O'Connor doing well. But we're very early in this bout. We're at the 5:23 mark. A leg hold by O'Connor. O'Connor just doing chain wrestling here, just keeping Pezic off balance. A disqualify check. There is no DQ minus 10 rules for this. This is just a flat-out bout. You could get DQ'd at any time. O'Connor with a kick, and that almost landed low. Pezic comes back with a legal throw. It was countered. Rolling cradle countered by Pezic, and he goes for a sleeper hold, but that's nowhere near got a chance of scoring the pin. If you have a 0 in that third number, it's not gonna be a win for you, so we ignore those. Low blow by Pezic, and a pin attempt, but it was illegal, and the ref spots it. Whip to the ropes by Pat O'Connor was countered. Legal throw by Pezic. No pin. We're 8:40 into the bout. Pezic trailing by 29 points. Supplé attempt by O'Connor. The first time they met, Pezic was giving O'Connor all kinds of trouble. But here, in the first 9 minutes, it's been O'Connor doing well. He scores a 9-point vertical supplé, a 7-point leg hold, and legal chops. So Pezic having trouble. 2 more illegal chops. That's 10 more points off of Pezic's total. An abdominal stretch. Not going to get a submission. Legal throw by John Pezic. Illegal choking by Pezic. Pezic is one of these guys who could get a bunch of moves together and can get back in a match very quickly. 3 moves now in a row for Pezic, and that tightens about down to 33 points. Pezic only trailing now by 33. Submission move, arm breaker. That does not score in a leg hold. A leg hold. He could put moves together in a hurry on you. Arm hold by Pezic. And a headlock, and that gives Pezic the lead in terms of damage. O'Connor now trailing by 5. That's what I told you about Pezic. He could get it going on you real fast. Rolling cradle, no pin. Didn't even get a 1 count. Leg hold by O'Connor. And O'Connor using punches. We're 16:09 into the bout. O'Connor back on top. Spinning toe hold. That's not going to get a pin. Fan interaction. Pezic getting a healthy case of booze from the fans. And that's 5 points off. Backslide O'Connor. No pin. Got to a count of 1 and that was it. So about an even bout. Headbutt by Pezic. And an arm hold, and O'Connor now again trailing, albeit by 1 point at the 18:56 mark. Toe hold! No. Could not get it done. He had to get a 1 or 2 or 3 on the 3 count, and he could not. Arm hold by Pezic. So Pezic now going to work. He's opened up a 25-point lead. Another toe hold. No pin. No pin. He needed a 1 or a 2 or a 3 on that last 3 count. Couldn't get it. But he's opened up a 42-point lead now. Body slam by O'Connor. O'Connor now looking a little worse for wear. Rolling cradle on Pezic. Got very low numbers on the 1 and the 2 count, but not on the 3, which is what he needed. He needed just the 1. And that 1 is what got him the world title over Dory Funk Jr. back in week 20, I think it was 27 in St. Louis. Roundhouse right, but that misses. Pezic saw that coming a mile away, and he goes to a leg hold. He's got a 35-point lead now at 22:45. Forearm. Forearm to the bridge of the nose. Got to get a 1 on the 3, and he doesn't. Headbutt by Pezic. So Pezic now has a 45-point lead. Rolling reverse, and that one doesn't even get a 1 count. Face rake by O'Connor. Leg hold by O'Connor. But choking right back by Pezic. Pezic staying in the lead. Arm hold. Whip to the ropes by O'Connor. Very even bout. They have both been in control about the same number of times. We've had 6 pin attempts by O'Connor, 2 by Pezic. Chop by Pezic. Kick countered. Kind of a cobra hold, but Pezic kind of squirms his way out of that as soon as O'Connor seemed to have applied it. And shoulder block by Pezic off the ring. A fall to the arena floor. Pezic now back up by about 40 points. A legal throw by Pezic. Pezic's not dominating the bout, but he was down quite a bit in the first 10 minutes and has made quite a comeback. Arm breaker, but that's not going to get a pin because it was 20-19-0. Kick by O'Connor. Legal throw by O'Connor. Counter by Pezic into a headlock. And Pezic's opened up a 50-point lead. We're halfway through the bout now. If we have a draw, O'Connor retains. Double wrist lock. No pin. No pin. That had a 40-40-11 chance. So it would have been about 25%, 27.5% chance of getting a pin there. Kick by Pezic. Pezic, big body slam. Illegal pin attempt, but no pin. So Pezic putting the pressure on Pat O'Connor. Try saying that fast 3 times. Leg hold. Leg hold countered by O'Connor, who comes back with a kick. Pezic now up about 80 points at 33-43. Stick and move moves by O'Connor. Illegal punches by Pezic. Indian deathlock. That will not get it done, because you got that 0 in the way. I gouged by Pezic, so Pezic pulling out all the stops. Can the world title change hands here tonight in San Francisco? Legal punches, illegal punches by Pezic. He goes for that double wrist lock again. This has a 47.5% chance of the world title changing hands. But, an ally has come to ringside and has attacked John Pezic. So O'Connor winds up being DQ'd, but that saves his championship. It's Dory Funk Jr. who attacked John Pezic, because Pezic was the Jr., of course, was the champion before O'Connor. So Pezic will win by DQ, and I'll have to look up the numbers. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Well, I'll have to look it up later, folks. Pezic by DQ, and he will get another match, which will be next. We'll have to move that to next Saturday, and it'll be on Grand Slam Saturday, as the matches from Honolulu Hawaii. So much for that. My attempt to, pretty sure it will be +1 for Pezic. So he is granted, and he also gets to name a stip, and he'll probably want to have a no DQ match against Pat O'Connor, which would be right up Pezic's alley. Bout got 4.5 stars, by the way. 260, 165. Neither man was cut, and the bout gets a 4.5-star ratings. So with Pezic winning by DQ, and if you thought that was going to happen before this bout got started, congratulations, because I don't think anybody saw that coming. So Pezic will get to pick a stip, and it'll probably be no DQ. Probably want a no DQ match against O'Connor next week in Honolulu. So wipe the planned Pacific title and Latin American title bouts off the board. So there you go, folks. This has been your Grand Slam Saturday for August 28, 2021. Big Paulie coming to you. Wishing you all well. Godspeed and God bless. We'll do it all again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody.